Hi there, Brandi Sellers-Jackson here. I have a few questions and I'm going to answer them. All right, so my first question is I am 38 weeks pregnant, so all I can think about is the birthing process. It has given me immense anxiety, and I sometimes genuinely wonder if I'll be able to handle the difficulty of giving birth. Without sugarcoating anything, how was the birthing process for you? From the moment you got to the hospital until you were holding your baby, how did you feel? What thoughts were in your head during the whole experience? Do I need to be freaking out as much as I am? Please be totally transparent. I know it's going to be rough, so I'm prepared. All right, so first and foremost, I would say that it is totally okay for you to freak out. You've never done this before. This being your first time giving birth, even with the most, you could have a library of books, you could have all the classes, you could watch all the videos, and it still wouldn't be enough to prepare you, just to be honest. And that's because it's unique to you. Your experience is going to be unique to you. And I would just say the advice I would offer is that it's okay to be a little nervous, and it's okay to feel a little discombobulated. The question I would say is, what do you do with those emotions? What do you do to support those emotions? One of the things I would say is, and what has helped me in all of my births, and even what I share with my birthing clients, is that you are more than enough to support every fear, to get rid of every fear, to lean into every fear. You are more than enough. That's the first thing. And that two, you have everything you need. You have everything you need to birth this baby. Everything you need. The beautiful thing about birth is that you really can draw strength from within. And I'll give you an example. With my, I had very different births with all three of my boys. With my first, it was 18 hours of labor, and it was Pitocin, and it was epidurals, and all these things. And I felt very much so out of control because there were things that were being done to me as opposed to done with my consent. And then with the second one, I gave birth, and it was a very, very long labor. And it was probably the most intense thing I've ever experienced in my life, just to be honest. It was intense. It was 43 hours of labor and unmedicated, and he just took his sweet little time getting here. And the funny thing is, it's a lot like his personality now. He does what he wants. And then with my final birth, it was 3 hours of labor and very quick. And it was probably one of the most beautiful things I've ever experienced to date. And I say all that to say that each birth is different. Don't believe the hype. I think television does a really horrible job at depicting birth, as this very chaotic, very intense thing, as opposed to being, yes, it can be intense, but it can also be peaceful. It can be intense, and it can also be filled with consent. It can be intense, and it can feel like you are out of control, because technically you are. Baby's running the show. But also you can lean into that grit, that thing that's inside of you that knows that, hey, you are anchored and you are supported and you are safe. So what I always like to do when parents feel anxious about birth, I lean into the things. What are the things that you can control? So, because that's really where the anxiety stems from, is what feeling of feeling out of control. So what are the things that you can control? One of the things being finding the birthing team that you can feel safe with. So find the birthing team. So that means your OB or your midwife or whoever it is that you're birthing with. Find someone who you feel safe with. That's the first thing. The second thing being, make sure that you go through your birth plan, design a birth plan, and know that birth plan may shift, but know that you have somewhat of an idea of what it is that you want your birth to be. And so that's my advice. Lean into the things that you can control. The things that you can't control, toss those away, and know that just because it's intense doesn't mean that it's wrong. Just because it's intense doesn't mean that you can't do it, because you can, because you're badass. And again, lean into knowing that you have everything you need to birth that baby. High five.